Hey, it's AP Experiment. Welcome back to Rainbow Six Extraction, and I just wanted to talk on how good the community is. Though we are a small community, we are definitely a community of great advice and great consistency. I rarely ever see someone who's toxic or, messing with one another. It seems like the community is always giving out advice to new players every time they have something to say, and also giving advice to players who are unaware of things. Those who are deeper in the lore explain things that others don't understand, and most definitely, even the people who leak things care more about the quality of the leak than just being the first to say it. And I think that makes us one of the best communities in the world, because man, when I look at other communities as far as gaming goes, it's very wild, the level of toxicity, the level of player against player that there is. Whereas in our community, in this small community of ours, of Rainbow Six Extraction, of Rainbow Six Siege, because I like to put them together every now and again, but for the most part, for Rainbow Six Extraction's personal community, we seem to always be helping each other out. Anytime I open the community, I see someone giving advice to someone else, or ways to be better, ways to get better, explaining things to one another. Very rarely is there someone that is outright just being toxic or things of that nature. We really seem to be, I'm not gonna say a well-behaved community, but I'd say very well mannered, in the instance that we really do seem to care about each other. We're constantly helping each other out in any way that we can, and reacting to one another's content, or reacting to one another's comments in a way that's not just oh, you didn't know that, but it's more here's this explanation and that explanation, here's how this works and that works. Even down to the fact that people are explaining tech that has its own explanation inside the game, we'll re-explain it just because we care like that. And I love that. I really love that about us. We are a very good community in that manner. I think the funniest thing I've seen inside the community this week, though, is everyone talking about the zero immunity when you get knocked down and jumped, or jumped as I call it. And that's pretty much, for me, comes usually when I'm fighting the feral grunts. I almost forgot their name for a second, but yes, the feral grunts. As you will see them inside of this gameplay, they are the very pink, long pencil-armed creatures that seem to literally be just jumping off of walls. The definition of parkour demons. And I'm not gonna lie, they to me are the ultimate bullies, because when you see one, you see five, and they literally just start punching you, and once you get on the ground, they are literally just beating the mess out of you. It is the funniest thing to me. I always call it jumping. If you look at any of my other videos, you'll see got jumped by this, got jumped by that, because it happens to me often. There are so many times when I am not paying attention, and out of the corner of my eye, all I see is a feral grunt punching me in the back of my head. They are some of the funniest creatures. They are literally they'll pop up out of nowhere. You won't even know that they saw you, because they won't even initially howl. They'll just instantly start charging you. It's the craziest thing. I really do enjoy every aspect of this game, down to all the little predictabilities, all the way down to all the little crazy things that can happen. For instance, I could have a critical run, maybe see one Apex toward the end of the mission, get it down, kill it, and I can re-queue up, same map, same location, almost all the same enemies, and run into 4 Apexes that are ultra aggressive and literally meet me the moment that I spawn in. I really love the way that this game just kind of switches up the pace every single time you load it up. It is most definitely one of my favorite aspects of the entire game, is the consistent changing, the consistent debacles from the weekly assignment changes, the weekly maelstrom changes, the changes every time you load in on every map. Now, yes, do I feel like we probably need a few more maps? That's just my personal opinion. Now that we're into year 2, obviously a couple of new maps would help change up the dynamic. We need more operators. Obviously, that's what everyone in the community is waiting for, is the next operator to drop. More variants, obviously, because new enemies definitely will bring new tactics, new ways to think, new ways to teamwork. And hopefully it's the next operator is an operator that brings in new guns. That is another problem that we have, is that right now a lot of the operators share the same weapons, so we end up using the same weapons. Whereas if we can get somebody maybe like a Maverick or a Wamai or a Azami who has a completely different weapon than the operators that we currently have in the game, I feel like those would all be things to spice up in year 2, to ramp up year 2 in an entirely different way. That would just be very subtle. It wouldn't even be like a major change. It would literally just be that they brought in an operator. That operator has different guns, which changes the entire dynamic of how the game feels, just because they brought that whole new spice of life thing. It's the same as if if you cook rice by itself, it's just rice. But if you cook rice and then you add a couple of peas, some corn, some meat of some sorts, your favorite chicken, ground beef, whatever, it spices it up, but it's still basically for the most part the same meal. And that's how I feel that year 2 hopefully will go, and we will see. But I'm excited for us, the community, because I feel like we have definitely held firm on this game when everyone counted it out way before it even launched. And I'm happy to see that every day I see new players, I see new comments, new talks. The Discord is always going. Literally, the Discord's always going. I believe the Reddit is visited constantly. I personally do not go into the Reddit often, but I know that the Reddit constantly has different comments. And I cannot wait to see what we as a community do next. I've seen some of the community arts and cosplays. We are an amazing community, and I cannot wait to see what we do next. I really, really can. I love the different ways that we play, the different ways that we talk. I love the different ways we get into lore, the small debates, the back and forths, the speculations, and oh my lord, the closer and closer we get to the next update, I know I can't wait for the next leaks and no, it should be this, it should be that, we should change this, we should change that. I love the way that we communicate our issues with the game in a way that's both not bashing the game, but also critiquing it in a way that we really want to see it improve and be better. And I love that for us as a community, because we, the community, are awesome. I would really like to hear I would really like to see down in the comment section what is your favorite operator in the game so far, and what is your favorite operator from Rainbow Six overall. I will start. My favorite operator in the game currently right now, hands down, obviously because I am a major fan of his weaponry, is Fuse. I really think that Fuse comes in clutch for me in ways that almost no other operator does. Obviously Vigil is a good secondary, as well as Lion, just because those three are major key movers and shakers as far as operators to me in this game. And again, Fuse is my #1 favorite, just specifically just because of the AK-12. I really love the AK-12. It's personally one of my favorite weapons in the entire Rainbow Six ordeal, just because again I'm a fan of the AK-12. But overall in all of Rainbow Six, both Siege and Extraction, I am a major fan of Wamai. I love Wamai. Wamai is basically my #1 pick anytime I'm playing Rainbow Six Siege. And I'm somewhat of a Splinter Cell fan. I'm not gonna say I'm a major Splinter Cell fan. I really have not played nor beaten the Splinter Cells, but I am aware of them, and I watched my older brother for years beat the games multiple times, because that man is a game warrior. I've watched him beat them more than a few times. So of course Zero is obviously one of my second favorites, but that's somewhat unfair because obviously I'm a Tom Clancy fan, and on top of being just a Siege fan. So of course, you know, any character that they bring over as far as like crossing over of is going to be a major key player to me. For instance, if I were to put it into comparison, obviously, even though again this is not at all comparable, but in reference, Call of Duty, whenever Ghost is brought up, Ghost is automatically people's favorite because people really just love Ghost. And that's how I feel about, you know, Zero / aka Sam Fisher of Splinter Cell. That man is literally an icon. Just his goggles alone is like, you know how cool you have to be that your night vision goggles is a logo not only for the game but for your character and for everyone that is a fan.